We have seen some dark places in Cordona, but this...
A single Malpalbutt. Roadman's Cigarettes. A brand highly regarded by law enforcement officers. So there wasn't any sophisticated infiltration plan. The good old police just let the man into the camp. Now we have everything we need to get the full picture of what happened at the camp.
You're not even trying, Sherry. Concentrate. You're not even trying, Sherry. Concentrate.
So, we have a thug who came to take a refugee woman with him. She resisted, but he dragged her by force. One of the refugees stood in his way, armed with a stick, yet he could do nothing against a cutthroat with a blade. The man didn't anticipate that the other refugees would intervene and stand against him. In the confusion, the woman managed to break free. The thug took fright and fled. He was stopped by the falling crates. He stumbled and fell, piercing his chest with his own blade. However, the wound didn't cause instant death. He managed to stand, but still bleeding, he lost his balance on the bridge and fell. Before all of this, the man had freely entered the camp through the main entrance. The police admitted him after they had a short smoke together.
You live by the sword, you die by the sword. In our man's case, it's the same sword.
You still here?
Inspector, I believe I can aid your investigation. I know who the dead man is and what really happened.
You do? Well, good for you. But I'm afraid I'm not the one you need to share your findings with. Speak to Mr. Harlow here. He's the one responsible for settling things in the camp.
You don't even care to listen?
Oh, I do care. And maybe even more than I need to. But I'm only here today to lock the place up, question witnesses, and file the facts. It's sad, but coming up with conclusions is not among my tasks here. You fellows at City Hall do that. Anyway, speak to the supervisor. I'll just stand by and listen to what you have to say.
Mr. Harlow, your refugees didn't murder anyone.
What? Pray tell me what you've learned.
All right, listen carefully. This might solve one problem for you, but will create a few more.
Oh, well, that's a great start.
The man came to the camp intending to kidnap one of your refugees, a woman. What he didn't expect was that the refugees would stand up to protect the woman. A brawl had broken out. In the chaos of it, the man stumbled over those crates and fell on his own blade.
How do you know he fell on his own blade?
The wound in his chest was inflicted from an unusual angle. It was not an offensive stab, shall we say. The refugees didn't touch him. And judging by the blood at the scene, the intruder managed to raise himself but was unable to walk very far. He ultimately fell into the canal.
But how did he sneak into the camp? Why didn't the police see him?
And this is where your new problems emerge, Mr. Harlow.
What do you mean?
You're not a dull-witted man. You know what I mean. There is no feasible way to get into the camp without the police guards knowing of it.
The pile of mess I had to sort out has just become bigger, but somehow that doesn't surprise me. Anyway, I thank you for your help, Mr. Holmes. I'll take it from here. Meanwhile, I'll make sure the police aren't detaining the refugees any longer. You can go back in and look for your witness.
You think one small clerk can make any difference in this place?
Who knows, John? Just one ill-fitting cog could make the whole machine crumble.
You are the one who tended to our man's wounds. I thank you greatly. The police didn't allow us to help him.
The police will leave you alone now. I've proven to them that the man who came into the camp died due to his own foolishness.
Thank you for standing up for us. But nobody would help us without a reason. You're here because you want something.
Yes, I do. I need to speak with the girl drawn here.
The dead man came for her too. He wanted to take the girl away, but we won't allow her to be hurt again. What do you want from Naylor?
Naylor. She was hurt some time ago. I'm here to find the people who did this and bring them to justice. And to find them, I need Naylor's help. Will you let me speak to her?
Justice. There's no justice on this land. But you helped us, so maybe your words are not empty. You can speak to Naylor, if she wants it. But I will be watching you.
Hello, Naylor? My name is Sherlock. I know someone hurt you. I am here to help. I'm trying to find the people involved and bring them to justice. Please. There is a photograph, and I'm sorry, it is terrible, but I simply must ask. Where did this happen? What can you tell me about these people? Christ, Sherlock. Naylor, I'm sorry. I'm not very good at this.
You come here, but you are rude and cruel and condescending. A cross. The man had this cross. Now go away. Leave us be. I do not need another white man's help.
Oh, glad that wasn't me.
Not my best work, John. By a long shot. Naylor doesn't want us meddling. I'm starting to wonder what this all achieves.
But she helped you anyway. Now we know that maniac's face and the cross he wore, we can still catch him.
Could you help me?
I'm so sorry. I can't help you, sir.
Can I ask you a question? A solid question, sir, but I don't have the answer.
This isn't... working. You might need a different tack.
Can I ask you a question? A solid question, sir, but I don't have the answer.
I owe you a lot, Mr. Holmes.
You still here?
The intruder has a most peculiar tattoo on his neck, 2 lines and a point. Do you know anything about it?
You really want to know, kid? Why? You want to play a policeman or something?
I'm sure you have it in your records, so it won't hurt if I have it in mine.
In my records, it's just a tattoo, as it should be in yours. Ah, to hell with you. Suit yourself as to what you're going to do with it. Off the record, though, such tattoos are often connected to a man named Mr. Niccolo Bernadotti.
Bernadotti, you say?
A respectable businessman in Scaladio. His company imports goods and wines, and smuggles everything that can be smuggled between the colonies and the mainland. His people can be identified by an obscure tattoo, just like the one over there our friend has. But these are all merely rumors, you see. If Mr. Bernadotti was a criminal, he'd be in prison now. Or hanged, right? You're disturbing a hornet's nest here, son.
I owe you a lot, Mr. Holmes.
May I ask for your assistance? A solid question, sir, but I don't have the answer.
Sherry, wait. You might want to settle all the matters in the camp before leaving. You probably won't be coming back here anytime soon.
You're disturbing a hornet's nest here, son.
Can you satisfy my curiosity?
Sorry, we don't see much here.
Terrible events are behind that canvas, Sherry.
At least some of your kind have a hat. Thank you again.
Help me, please.
Sorry, we don't see much here.
Are you able to help me?
Sorry. We don't see much here.
This isn't working. You might need a different tack.
Do you know anything about this?
They often take us from the camps to work. Most don't mind, though. It's the only way we get a glimpse of freedom.
So there's a smuggling ring in the camp. This wasn't the first time that someone freely entered the camp to take a refugee out.
At least it was certainly his last time. My gut tells me that we'll learn more about this ring when we find out where the thug came from. There are still matters we can settle before leaving the camp.
Murder! Beasts!
Is this... I just need to collect my thoughts, Sherry.
Could you help me?
I'm very sorry, sir, but I can't help you.
What a lovely man this Bernadotte is, eh, Sherry? Can't wait until we get to meet him.
I won't wait for an invitation, John. Help me, please.
Oh, I'm sorry, but that's beyond my knowledge.
These workers don't look like your average Cordona folk.
They're refugees from the camp. Porcelain friend for every child. An essential remedy against sea scourge on any ship.
That's our way in, Sherry.
Shipped from Cape Town. The wine route from colony to colonies.
You go talk to that beef. I'll sneak up from behind and take him out.
Hey, yo. This is private property. You lost something.
Good day, sir. I've been sent by City Hall to see Mr. Bernadotte about...
Mr. Bernadotte isn't seeing anyone. You have 3 seconds to walk away or you'll never walk again. Capito?
It's in Mr. Bernadotte's best interest to...
1.
Listen, the man Bernadotte sent to...
2.
I did try to resolve this peacefully.
Miss the party. I'm coming for you.
Don't bother moving. You've lost.
The snuff's ready.
No more crime for you.
I'm coming for you.
Take a rest, my friend.
Give him the pepper snuff.
Don't.
The snuff's ready. I thought we were against murder. Give him the pepper snuff.
Don't bother moving. You've lost. No No more crime for you until next month.
You've disappointed me so much, Sherlock. Sherry, look! This seems familiar.
Masks, traditional for the Chokwe people of Central Africa. A Dogon statue from West Africa. A century old at least. VH Grindley Flow Blue tableware. This is what lies behind the facade of Bernadotte Company Limited.
No, sir. Don't hurt me.
It's all right. I won't harm you.
Like you didn't harm the folks on the way here?
An amazing piece of culture. I imagine many collectors and museums would be interested in having it. Vogel's stolen painting. Isn't it curious how it developed into a much more interesting case?
This marble fella, it's like he was made after my image. You see it?
Don't come any closer. One step and I'll shred you to pieces.
Go ahead. Make my day.
Righto. Yes. Yep. Well, excuse me, sir. I think I hear... I've got to... It's better I leave.
Whoa. Oh, wow. That was as if somebody put my words in your mouth. This is it. This is where all the magic happens.
Please don't shoot me. I have a family. Spare me. Spare me. Spare me.
You've cut through all the guards just to talk to me. Then come here, and we shall talk.
Sherry, don't you think this office suits me?
Whenever you're ready. I'd hate to intrude.
Niccolo Bernadotti, I presume? The name is Sherlock Holmes, and I'm afraid I bring bad tidings.
Is that so?
The man you sent to the refugee camp failed in his task. He impaled himself on his own blade. Clumsy and chaotic end.
For a man who just broke onto my property, you are more businessman than brute. You have my attention, Mr. Holmes. Do not waste it.
Mr. Bernadotti, do you know the name Boniface Mercurio?
I do not.
Mercurio was a local artist. Recently, a man broke into his apartment, ransacked the place, and killed him. The thief was looking for something.
You are testing my patience, boy.
In a moment, the connection will reveal itself. I was hired, privately, to investigate the recent theft of a painting from an art gallery. My investigation led me to a man from your organization, and thus, to you, Mr. Bernadotti.
That is quite a stretch. Why would I need to steal a painting when I could buy anyone I wanted?
Interestingly enough, I spotted the stolen painting in your storeroom.
I buy and sell a lot of things, Mr. Holmes. Unfortunately, if this is true, it is not the first time I have been sold stolen merchandise. I presume you were hired by the owner of the gallery. Tell them to contact me, and we'll sort out into my office.
As I said, your man was found dead in the refugee camp. He was there to kidnap a woman, but the other refugees intervened to try and save her. The ensuing scuffle resulted in the man's accidental suicide. He sported the same tattoo as your men in this building. In fact, it also bears a resemblance to the one on your neck. Care to explain what business your man had with this woman?
You have no idea what you are talking about. I can assure you this was no kidnapping. The refugees in the camp are on edge. What happened there is a tragic accident, one I am not responsible for.
For what reason was your man there if not to abduct her?
Why would I answer? You are yet to justify your presence in the slightest. So many words, so little action. When you barged into my office, Mr. Holmes, I got the impression you wanted to talk business. Now I see you had come just to talk. Tell me exactly what you want, or get out.
It was necessary groundwork for what comes next. I have enough evidence to conclude that the gallery thief, the artist's killer, and the dead man in the camp are all the same person.
Your time is almost up, Mr. Holmes.
Before you draw your gun, there is one final detail I am yet to mention. The young woman your man was tasked to collect from the refugee camp had been defiled at a perverse masquerade party. That violation was captured in a photograph by Boniface Mercurio and used as a reference for his painting. The photo shows the attacker's face.
Finally. That's why you're here, Mr. Holmes. You have the photograph.
It is what your man was after when he broke into Mercurio's apartment, and it is what you're after too, isn't it, Mr. Bernadotti?
You have the photograph.
Carry it with me, but I am yet to decide what I shall do with it. I know the man in the photo is a British envoy. What interest do you have in his downfall?
I must admit, I'm rather impressed by how comprehensively you have pursued this matter. And so, you deserve the honest answer. My business dealings are often arduous in their bureaucracy. A man in his position, willing to look the other way, could ease my work significantly. In return, I will make sure no one looks his way either. A favor for a favor.
Also known as blackmail, the modus operandi of any true professional.
It was not originally my idea. Mercurio set things in motion, extorting the envoy for the most trivial of ends. Money. In response, the envoy hired my man to retrieve the painting and the photograph, eliminating Mercurio's leverage. I only learned the whole story after the artist was killed in his home.
And rather than extricate yourself, instead you took over Mercurio's venture.
It fell into my lap. As a businessman, I simply seized the opportunity. Now, how much do you want for the image?
Why did you send your man to remove the woman from the camp?
Without a photograph, her testimony was the next best thing. Securing her was in everyone's interest. Victims and witnesses all too often disappear. I thought the girl was safer with us. I did not anticipate what would happen at the camp.
I could not help but appreciate the collection of smuggled artifacts in your storeroom. You have rather diversified your business.
Oh, high and mighty of you, Mr. Holmes. Not all smuggling is immoral. I pay generous rates to developing cultures and spread their culture to eager buyers. And furthermore, I supply many immigrants with a taste of home.
A very convenient way of thinking.
I have traveled widely, Mr. Holmes. I've seen people in far-flung lands for whom my services are a lifeline. Without them, they would starve. The tax on cargo is often so absurd that it would be more profitable to simply sink your ship than dock it in the harbor. And trust me, I am speaking from experience.
I saw refugees from the camp at your warehouse. They work for you.
I have made certain arrangements with City Hall and the police. Thanks to me, refugees can work and be paid. It's a pathway to freedom.
And how much do you save by capitalizing on their cheap labor?
I have heard no complaints. They seem happy just to get out of that slum.
Why should I give you the photograph?
Just name your price.
What if my price were not money? You claim to have connections, Mr. Bernadotte. Perhaps you could improve conditions for the refugees. Give them a chance for a better life.
Ha! I do have connections, Mr. Holmes, but help the whole camp? You are asking too much. I could, however, make arrangements outside the camp, solely for her and her child. She will no longer be a refugee, but a princess. That I can guarantee.
Is that really possible?
It will be neither fast nor easy, but I can do it. She deserves it, don't you agree? And as for her abuser, he will serve me, as much as he deserves.
So in your plan, everybody will be given their due. Especially you, Mr. Bernadotte.
Seems like a fair deal, no? I doubt anyone could offer you better. Simply give me the photograph, and the world becomes a better place. I give you my word.
What makes you think you can decide what's best for these people?
Such is the arrogance of British imperialism. I take your point.
The front door's now open, sir. You can leave through it. If you want, of course.
Mr. Holmes, you've returned. Have you uncovered anything new about the theft?
I've brought news, but not all of it will please you.
Fill me in, Mr. Holmes. I won't shoot the messenger.
I located the thief, but found him rather cold. He was tight-lipped about the painting, too.
Huh, he's dead. How very droll, Mr. Holmes. One presumes you were not responsible.
It was an accident at the refugee camp. He impaled himself on his own knife.
Life is nothing if not cruel and capricious.
I tracked down Boniface Mercurio.
I presume he wasn't delighted about the situation.
He was not having a good day on account of his murder. Killed in his own flat by the same person that stole his painting.
Oh, sweet Mercurio, perishing in the pursuit of his art. How apt. I will miss his exceptional sense of humor. What about the stolen painting? Have you located it?
I found the source of Mercurio's artistic inspiration. A photograph. What troubled me was that the sexual act captured was non-consensual.
She was violated? Dear God, how despicable.
Her abuser was in fact the British envoy. Mercurio took a picture of him committing the atrocity and then used it as artistic inspiration.
I had no idea a mere break-in would eventually expose such barbarity.
I found the painting, but I could not retrieve it.
Well then, where is it?
In Bernadotti's office.
Bernadotti? That shady businessman? Why would he steal it from me?
I'm afraid you'll have to ask him yourself.
I take it you found something more then.
Mr. Vogel, I want you to make everything public, including the photograph. I'm sure you have a connection at the Cordona Chronicle.
Ah, Mr. Holmes. Loyal to your own truth till the end. Yes, I'm acquainted with the staff of the Chronicle. The story is sensational, and will surely draw attention to the gallery. But you must be aware that exposing the scandal will further hurt the victim. Does that not bother you?
No matter what one does, the truth tends to come out, as well it should. I won't be the one to stand in its way.
Though it's only your subjective truth being exposed. Not that I'm judging. It's perfectly reasonable for everyone to have their own views.
When you called me, you knew exactly what you would get.
Oh, but I'm not like you, Mr. Holmes. I cannot be sure of anything. Regardless, I must thank you, for art's sake. Well, now that we've resolved all of our outstanding matters, I have a gift for you. I took the liberty of having it delivered to Stonewood Manor. I am told it belonged to your mother.
And what exactly have you sent me?
Frankly, I'm not sure how to answer that. I trust you'll know.
Previously, you mentioned there may have been more to my mother's passing than consumption. It appears you were right.
Oh dear, I'd hoped to be wrong.
She was unstable, mentally unwell. She required sustained specialized treatment, but her madness persisted.
I knew that Violet had disappeared from the public eye, but had no idea of her suffering. I cannot imagine what you're feeling.
I'm fine. Thank you, Mr. Vogel. I am curious to see what you have procured.
I think I'll leave the exhibition in its current state for a while. I'll call it The Art of Vandalism.
Just look at this thing. It's huge.
It's a bizarre object, and yet oddly familiar.
Did you just remember something?
Yes. A room full of curiosities and artifacts. I think I can find it in the manor.
Sherlock. So, you continue to pursue the imaginary. I had hoped you might have got all this out of your system by now.
Mycroft, what are you doing here? Get out of my house.
It's my house, actually. I've come to bring you back.
I have no interest in returning, let alone with you. I know you lied about Mother all these years, claiming she was merely ill, but she was unstable. She never had tuberculosis. She was not recuperating, but mentally deteriorating, and you never once thought to tell me. How dare you?
I shall not indulge this petulant tantrum. You can just tire yourself out and then slink back to London with your tail between your legs.
Just tell me everything. I'm an adult now. Show me the basic courtesy of an explanation. You know I will find out eventually.
The goal was stability, and that's what you got. The right thing for everyone was to try and move on from her passing.
The consequences of one's actions determines what is right or wrong.
Yes, exactly. The ends justify the means. After leaving Cordona, Sherlock, you had a normal childhood. In London, I was able to support you, guide you, shape you into a fine and productive young man. You have so much potential, so much to offer society.
But that's not the end. Now I found the truth, and it has shattered everything I knew about her, about you, and about myself. I feel unstable because of you. Your actions were not justified. Lying never is.
Oh, grow up, Sherlock. It was a white lie which has as much use in the realm of the interpersonal as the international. It is time you come to accept that some things are bigger than yourself.
Oh, you are full of it. You like to pretend you care about the big picture, but it's just an ego trip. You like knowing more than others. You like greasing palms and rubbing shoulders with the rich and powerful. You like having eyes and ears everywhere. The fact it helps the nation is incidental, because all you care about is yourself.
It's true. I have agents everywhere, including Cordona. If you weren't so damn stubborn, you'd realize that means I'm only here for you.
Another one. There must be something important behind it. I can feel it. I remember returning home with a pair of perfect sticks. We wanted to turn them into training swords.
Oh, that's right. We stood there, frozen, staring at something huge in the main hall. It was a giant aquarium with a living mermaid in it.
Impossible, it must have been something else. Oh, of course, that mortifying hoax presently taking up space in our front yard.
Well, fine. Your memory's better than mine. But I'm sure we started examining it immediately. And someone else was around too.
It was my mother. She asked what I thought of the artifact.
You were really concentrating and holding something in your hand.
I inspected it with a magnifying glass and was able to confirm it was made of two different skeletons. The mermaid was a fake.
And so it was time to smash the thing. Your mother took a hammer and...
Slow down, John. That's not how it happened. I remember other people joined us. The workers took the artifact and placed it into the cabinet of curiosities. It became part of Mother's collection of fakes. She always said that the truth lies in the details. This mermaid helped me to learn that. Ah yes, my mother's studio. She was an authenticator, and this was her cabinet of curiosities.
I never saw the point. What does it matter if some artifact is real or not? It still exists.
Mother said this was among the hunting trophies of a Scottish Viscount.
So he tried to persuade everyone that his forest was inhabited by these beasts. It would have been thrilling if it were actually true.
The full-plate armour of Sir Robert Saunford. I was told my father won it in a wager.
Armour is armour, but look at his sword. Oh, how badly I wanted to wield the blade. Maybe you take it instead of your pistol.
Clearly, it was deliberately torn. I wonder why someone would do that. The Tulpa, Studies in Tibetan Mentalism. An impressive number of bookmarks. Someone was rather obsessed with this subject. And this one was brought from a German museum. They claimed it belonged to Vikings. Nonsense, of course. Vikings never had horns on their helmets. The so-called mummy of a Persian princess. The defrauders did good work, but missed one small detail. It's the mummy of a man.
Look, it's Roger. This jolly old man's well preserved. Even looks refreshed.
I doubt he drew much interest at the auction.
That's for the best. I'd be upset if he fell into the wrong hands.
1852, Bingley, West Yorkshire. This photo caused a lot of fuss. My mother spent some time to prove it was a fake. So many calling cards. Mycroft liked to keep useful people at hand. Reliable and driven. I recognize Mycroft's handwriting. Officer Luciano J. Placido. Carefully opened. Dated 24th of April, 1869. This drawer was always closed. Only Mycroft knew how to open it.
I remember we tried to break it open and spy on him, but alas, had no success. Maybe today's the day. Oh, Sherry.
I'm starting to remember something.
It's a pity how many amazing things are missing from this room.
I remember this cozy blanket. It was perfect for...
Wigwam! Oh, that was a joy to build them. Imagining ourselves as wayfarers on the other side of the world.
One of the most ridiculous fakes I ever saw. Its owner insisted it was a polar bear. He thought the white paint on the brown fur wasn't noticeable. Watkinson and Holman, Chapter 1, by Wallace D. Oram.
Oh, Mycroft. He always acts so serious, but then reads tripe like this.
John, if I remember correctly, you couldn't put this book down. Another fake Holy Grail. Its owner claimed to be the heir of King Arthur. Scarcely believable. He also insisted a deadly rabbit was hunting him. Ah, the memory comes back. We snuck about watching him.
He closed the drawer and went to the hall. We were like two shadows crawling behind him.
Then he threw some logs into the fire and sat in his armchair to read.
It's as boring now as it was then. I'm sorry, Sherry, but I think that's it.
Wait, John, we never use the fireplace in the mornings. What if... A bit of juniper in the fireplace created a soothing atmosphere. It's the little things, isn't it? I think this is what we're looking for.
We made it. So what's there?
Gifted by Queen Victoria herself. Single malt whiskey, Mycroft's favourite. Otto Richter. This one is rather thick. Mycroft can be truly dogged in his research. Dossiers on the most influential people on Cordona. Mycroft always had a habit of building files on everyone he met. I used this ladder to look at the top shelf, right? On the day of Mother's breakdown upstairs.
Right you are, Sherry.
We heard a noise. I can't recall of exactly what. And we didn't have a great view from behind the statue. Books and papers from the table somehow ended up on the floor. Now it's coming to the surface. I feel it.
I'm being